So for those that don't know, I am still on a mission to learn DJing. I've been producing for over 12 years now, and for the longest time I didn't really care about DJing, but ever since the start of 2024 I've started to take it seriously, and today I mainly want to talk about what my future plans are. Because for the last 6 months I've been releasing mixes over on the Eclipse channel, and I made a video after I released the first mix where I went over the process of how I made that. I've also done a video on planning my mixes even before that, as well as talking about which software to use. But in terms of things like mixing style and the way that I make these mixes, nothing has really changed. The only thing that I've started doing for the last mix that I published is using my laptop instead of my desktop where I move my screen around. And the reason for that is I want to get a setup that I could take somewhere, so maybe in the future I can also perform somewhere outside of my studio. And to that end, I don't have any big expectations for what is going to come next. I'm still in the learning phase when it comes to DJing, and I also still need to build up my network. Of course, that is an important thing. If you want to perform live somewhere, you need to know a place that would actually allow you to perform. And to that extent, from what I know, there isn't really a massive scene here in Cremona, or very close near it. I would need to probably go to Milan, which would make traveling from place to place a little bit more difficult, as I would need to stay there, so maybe book an Airbnb or something like that. But those are all problems that you can solve once you find an actual place that you could perform at, which is not something that I have done yet. Now, right now, as I'm recording this video, I'm actually moving to a new apartment, so right now I don't actually have time to work on that, but in the autumn I definitely will, because that is the time when people start looking for artists, to play at festivals. Now, as I said, I don't have any big expectations, so I don't assume that I'm just suddenly going to jump into festivals and start playing everywhere. I am just going to start reaching out to some people, see if they like the mixes that I have already done. Of course, they will continue to release new mixes over on Eclipse, but I'll also maybe make some more DJing content, maybe some live streams if I can get a live stream setup to work. It is all going to depend a little bit on how the new studio is going to run in the new apartment. And it is of course also something that will take a little bit of time to get set up. Now, when it comes to festivals, I do quickly want to mention one other thing. I went to 2 festivals this year and I had a great experience. Currently, I haven't recorded anything about it yet. I haven't made like a review or something like that. And of course, since I'm moving these days, I don't have a lot of time to film content, but I might be able to squeeze out a stream, in which case I'll talk about that, but that will probably have to happen after I've moved. And I'll also take that stream and cut it up for Conversations with Projector, which is over on my second channel, which is where I post all of my stream highlights, and I might post some videos on this stuff as well. Anyway, that's for another time, because the first thing that I want to focus on is DJing. And the other thing that I have to focus on is getting a little bit more comfortable. Right now, the setup that I'm using is just a small console and a laptop. And generally speaking, you're going to find other setups if you're performing in an actual gig. So what I would like to do is, for one, get a little bit more comfortable with the setup that I have now. And I hope that increasing the amount of mixes that I make in a month will help with that. It would allow me to learn some new tricks, because currently I have the basic transitions down and I'm liking the way that I transition between tracks. But of course, I'm still just using basic transitions, and maybe there's some more interesting things that I could do. The other thing is, I feel like my knowledge is very dependent on the setup that I have now, in the sense that I don't feel like I would be comfortable playing with a different setup, say it like a couple of CDJs and like an external mixer. I think that's what it's called, the mixer that is then in the middle, and then you have the players on each of the sides. That is something that feels completely foreign to me. I have no evidence to prove that. I am not like, oh, I've played on one of those and it was completely different, because I just never have. I've never touched one of those things. And I don't know how it's going to work if you ever perform a gig, but I would like to have some experience on those kind of things before I actually start playing somewhere with them, of course. So I would need to find a way to get experience with that kind of system. And I don't really know how to do that. So maybe if you have a suggestion on that, please leave it in the comments down below. And with that, I think I've discussed all of the plans that I wanted to talk about. This is a little bit more of a shorter video and not really a tutorial. It's just a little bit of an update on something that I want to start doing more. And maybe not all of you knew that I was making these mixes over here on the Eclipse channel. Granted, it doesn't always have Projector in the title, but it's always in the description that these are mixed by me. And I also want to use this video to bring a little bit more attention to these mixes, because as you can see, they did perform a little bit better in the beginning. The last 2 haven't performed as well as we wanted them to. So if you're interested in listening to some of my label's music, including some unreleased stuff from me and the other artists on the label, make sure that you go check them out and give them a nice watch, because we can use all of the support that we get. But thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.